these games work. With Tiger and Dragon from the Kansas Lottery, you can win up to $125,000 or $100K in a second chance drawing.
You are weak.
Ouch. It's not a video game. It's better. Play Tiger and Dragon instant games from the Kansas Lottery.
Let's play.
Yeah, that works. See KSLottery.com for details.
Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC has been Kansas City's go-to dealership since 1995. They're proud to offer the area's biggest selection and best deals on new vehicles. Save up to $14,000 on new GMC Sierra or drive away in a new Buick with 0.9% APR and no payments for 90 days. Hundreds of vehicles, thousands in savings, one trusted name. Visit robertbrogdon.com or stop by I-35 in Santa Fe. Robert Brogdon Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Length of term varies for special APR. Must qualify and finance through GMF.
The FIFA World Cup countdown is on. Join us for the Kansas City kickoff on Sunday, June 22nd at the Asperia campus in Overland Park. This free family-friendly event will have food trucks, live music, activities, sports team appearances, and more. Learn more about the world's largest sporting competition and how you can be part of history in the making. Visit KansasCityFWC2026.com for more details. That's KansasCityFWC2026.com for more details.
Don't miss your opportunity to
30 seconds.
Jay Reed Indeed warm-up event this Sunday afternoon from 3 to 6 at the Hallbrook Country Club in Leawood. Jay Reed Indeed focuses on 3 pillars essential for helping children in underfunded and underserved communities become fully charged through technology, nutrition, and athletics. It's going to be an exciting afternoon of friendly competition, good vibes, and community impact. Come swing by for a cause and help us tee up for the future. For ticket and sponsorship information, go to jreedindeed.com.
KCFX HD4 Harrisonville, K279PI Kansas City, 103.7 FM. Sports Radio 810 WHB, Kansas City.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod-In Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod-In Supply, featuring the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kirk, we have a lot of racing to go over.
We had a ton of it to go over.
Right.
Scott, two of the biggest sprint car races of the year going on at the same time. We've got the High Banks Nationals concluding tonight up at Houston Speedway in South Dakota, $250,000 to win. And also tonight is the Super Dirt Cup at Skagit Speedway tonight. That pays $100,000 to win. Great racing at both racetracks this week. We've already paid out a lot of money at Huset's this week. They have the Huset's Hustle on Thursday night, and Buddy Kofoid walks away with $100,000 at that event. He's going for $250,000 tonight. We've got him on our show here this morning.
Right.
Interview that we did earlier in this week on Mostly Motorsports. We're going to replay that coming up on the show here in a little bit. We also have Sean Neistat, the great announcer at Houston Speedway, coming on the show too. Talk about the big event up at Houston Speedway this week.
Kirk, let's talk about Levi Clout.
Levi Klatt.
Klatt.
He likes to drink maple syrup in Victory Circle.
Right.
He stole the win from Justin Peck in Thursday night's preliminary round at Skagit Speedway on Thursday night. And, everybody's got their own little, celebrations that they like to do if they win. A lot of them do, and that is pretty unique. You take a bottle of maple syrup and drink it on top of the wing. I don't know what that tastes like.
Hey, Todd, what do you think about that?
There's a skit in a movie where they drink maple syrup. They all are at the diner and they all down the maple syrup and to see who wins. And I can't imagine drinking that much sugar. But I think that's
James McFadden takes his shoe off and pours
a beer in it
and drinks it out of his shoe. What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, not maybe a new shoe, but not one I've been racing in all night.
Right.
And then Parker Price Miller created something last night he probably don't want to continue. That is, he wins a race at Lincoln Park Speedway
And
last
flipped.
night and then flips the car on the cool-down lap.
Right.
I don't think Parker wants to repeat that ritual.
He was pretty upset after that.
Yeah, that muted whatever happiness he had of winning the race. That quickly went away when he
Totaled
thought he
his car.
destroyed the race car by
Right.
checking the curb out. He said he was testing the curb at Lincoln Park Speedway after the race to see really how bad it was. Well, he found out how bad it was when he got up into it and he went to flip it. So he walks over to Victory Lane without the car. And he says, well, I'm not sure what we're going to do. Scotty Cook asked him, where are you going tonight? I'm not sure if I'm not fired. We might come back
Hey,
and race the Power Eye race tonight. So.
Parker Price Miller picked up the Ohio Speed Week at Waynesville, Ohio.
Yeah, on Thursday night.
Yep.
So he was coming in on a pretty good roll. And then, if you remember, a week ago, he finished second to Aaron Reitzel in that race up at 34 Raceway, Power Eye race up there. So he'd been running good in Bernie Stugen's car, but I'm not too sure how happy Bernie was that his car was flipped after the race, but should be an interesting conversation after the race between Parker Price Miller and Bernie Stugen.
Bill Baylog picked up the victory last night at Huset's.
He did, and, they're calling it a little redemption. They asked Bill, because Bill led the race up till about 10 laps to go on Thursday night before Buddy Kofoid was able to pull a big slider on Bill Baylog and ended up winning the big money.
$20,000 last night to win.
It was $20,000 to win last night, which is far short than. Well, he won $25,000 for finishing second on Thursday night, so not as much as what he got for second on Thursday night. But they asked Bill, "You feel some redemption winning tonight?" He said, "Yeah, I do." So I guess, even though it wasn't the big money, but he can really feel redemption if he walks away with the $250,000 tonight at Houston Speedway. That's when he would feel the real redemption. But hey, Buddy just outran Bill on Thursday night. He just, to me, Buddy Kofoid had the faster race car on Thursday night.
Garrett Williamson and Buddy Kofoid had a pretty good battle last night as well.
Garrett Williamson looked like he had second place all locked up, but he still walks away with his best finish in the World of Outlaws. He's going for Rookie of the Year in the World of Outlaws, he's full-timer.
Right.
And that third-place finish was still his best finish, but he got nipped at the wire by Buddy Kofoid for second place last night. On a hot and windy day at Brandon, South Dakota last night, they had to really throw a lot of water at that racetrack last night. Hats off to the track crew up there, because had they not done what they did and throw as much water at that racetrack, it would have rubbered down. There's no question about it. It did not rubber down. It turned out to be a great racetrack. But when you have the combination of wind and heat, they were right to throw as much water as they did to it, and it took a little extra time to get it worked in. But great job with the track crew. I do take issue, Scott, with the format a little bit.
Why you say?
Well, first of all, the World of Outlaw guys are ruling the roost at Houston Speedway. The high limit guys that showed up are doing less than the World of Outlaw guys. The best the high limit guys did last night was Tyler Courtney finishing in 7th place and Brad Sweet 10th. The top 7 finishers were all full-time World of Outlaw guys. But here's the issue I have with the format. Rico Abreu qualified number 1 in his group twice. On Wednesday night, the prelim for the Houston's Hustle, and last night, the prelim for the High Bank Nationals. Rico Abreu was number 1 in his qualifying round. Yet on both instances, he did not make the A main. On Wednesday night, he made contact with another race car and finished 2 spots. They put first of all, they put the high time guys on the outside of the third row of the heat races.
Right.
And that heat race he was in on Wednesday night was absolutely stacked. He made contact with another car and ends up in 7th, one spot below his starting spot, and he has to start near the back of the B main. He's got no chance of making the A feature, which he did not. Last night, same thing happened. He qualifies number 1 in his second group, and he starts on the outside of the third row, where the top qualifiers do, and he ends up 8th. So where does that put him in the B main? He starts 16th in the B main, Scott.
Right.
No chance. And it said, here's the problem. The preliminary nights kind of set you up for how you're going to do the championship night.
Right.
And because how they line up the heat races is based on the points you earn. And now Rico, I will say this, that Rico did qualify. He did do well enough in his heat race on Thursday night to qualify for the main. He started 16th in the main and finished 10th. But Rico Abreu, who's been the top qualifier in his group on both events, I don't think has a chance to win tonight. And he certainly didn't have a chance to win on Thursday night. So anyway, I just feel that if you're the number 1 qualifier in your group, you shouldn't be starting as far back as 16th in the B main. So I think that they need to adjust that a little bit.
Blackjack Brian Brown didn't have much luck last night, did he?
Well, I think he qualified number 2 in his group, and he struggled in the heat race. So unless you pass 2 or 3 cars in your heat race, your chances of winning the big money are.
He was in the last chance showdown.
Yeah, he had to come out of the last chance showdown, which he did. He qualified out of the last chance showdown and had to start towards the back of the A main. But as stacked as this field is,
right,
if you're starting towards the back or you got to come out of the B main, you got no chance. So congratulations to Buddy Kofoid. He's got a chance to win $350,000 plus whatever money he's won in the preliminary nights this week. He's got a chance to walk out of there with, what, $400,000 this week?
Right.
So he's got Houston Speedway figured out. There's no question about that.
Kyle Cummins picks up the USAC Silver Crown race at Eastern Storm Diamond.
The Big Diamond Speedway?
The Big Diamond Speedway in Pottsville, Arkansas.
Or is that's Pennsylvania, PA.
PA.
Yeah. That was Thursday night. Now, last night, Kyle Cummins, he finishes second to Kevin Thomas Jr., who wins last night. Crazy night at Williams Grove last night, Scott. First of all, the lights go out right before they're ready to roll off with the non-wing feature event. I guess there was an accident out on the highway and hit the light poles, and the lights went out for about 20 minutes. I guess it's a good thing it happened before the start of the race. I'd shudder to think if that had happened while they were at speed going around the big half mile at Williams Grove Speedway. But that delayed the start of the feature, and it was just a lot of crazy things that happened during that race last night. But through it all, Kevin Thomas Jr., who we saw win at Knoxville here a few weeks back, wins on the half mile at Williams Grove Speedway. I think Kevin Thomas Jr. has got the big half miles figured out. We'll see what he does at Terre Haute and some other places coming up. But KTJ winning the race last night as Kyle Cummins finishes second. Briggs Danner passes Jake Swanson late for third. Justin Grant ends up in the top 5. They had 410 wing sprint cars at Williams Grove last night, too. And Chad Trout started on the pole and wins over Austin Bishop, Ryan Newton, Troy Wagaman Jr., Brock Zierfoss, and Justin Whittle, your top 5 races at Williams Grove Speedway, a place where they've had a ton of rainouts this year. And on the other side of the state last night, Scott, Rain foiled for the second night in a row the Firecracker 100 prelim for the Lucas Oil late models at Lernerville Speedway. No races the first 2 nights, so they're down to a one-day show for the Firecracker 100 tonight in the big money. So I thought maybe they were going to get last night. They were planning on running 2 shows. Thursday night's rain out and the Friday night regular season, but they just had too much rain. They thought they'd get it worked in, but it just wasn't running itself in, so they had to pull the plug on that. So rain on the other side of the state of Pennsylvania foils the late models, but they were able to get racing in at Williams Grove last night. So I think most of the racing got in. Federated Auto Parts Speedway, I-55, Peebly, Missouri, was the site of the World of Outlaw late models. They had the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series.
They had late models out at Lakeside Speedway last night, didn't they?
They did, too. I'll get into that here in just a second, but just finish up at Peebly. Bobby Pierce wins the feature last night at Peebly, I-55 Speedway, and Cannon McIntosh wins the Extreme Outlaw Midget feature. Yeah, they did have late models at Lakeside Speedway last night, and it was interesting to see the different names in the late model division last night. I didn't recognize a lot of these names running in this. It is called the Bud's Tire and Wheel Late Model Series. Dustin Tiger was the feature winner at Lakeside Speedway last night over Sawyer Krigler, Caden Cornell, who I've heard of, Tim Petty, and Austin Vincent.
Where's that at?
That was at Lakeside Speedway last night. Congratulations, Tim Carrick. He wins the B-Mod feat. I've heard of him.
Yeah,
we know who Tim Carrick is. Beats John Sheets, Chad Clancy, Kerry Davis, and Bill Rusinger. And they only had one of the class at Lakeside last night. Corey Myers winning the 12-lap E-Mod feature. That was a hot night. Probably good they only had 3 classes last night. Todd,
did you go out there, Todd?
Yeah, I went out early. I dropped some merchandise off for the kid flag thing that Lisa Burlington has come up with, and we've donated some merchandise. So I met her out there at the pit gate and talked a little bit, but my gosh, guys.
It was too hot.
I was out there at 5 o'clock, 4:45, and it was just blazing. I mean, I was only out there standing for maybe 30 minutes, and here's how bad it was. I was going to go shopping after I dropped off those things. I went home and changed because I just went through my shirt and everything. I was like, I can't go walking through the grocery store looking like this. So I went home and changed before I went grocery shopping. But
you're dressed a little heavy for today.
Well, it was a little chilly in here this morning. I come rolling in. I couldn't believe you're wearing shorts, but I was cold when I rolled in this morning. So I got one of the racing boys.
It's cold in the studio.
It is. Well, we're in the basement, so anytime you work out of a basement, in my house, it's real chilly in the basement.
It's a place to be on a day like this.
I had to break out the hoodie this morning, but we dropped off, and last night they didn't do the kid thing because they're just doing it on local weekly event shows, and last night was a special, so it won't be. But they'll continue that and pick that up next week, and we presented some merchandise, so they'll be giving that away.
Hey, I need to finish up. We didn't finish up the story of the Dirt Cup out at Skagit Speedway. Last night they had a preliminary round, maybe the best race of the night. Justin Sanders comes from 3rd place in the final 4 laps and passes James McFadden on the final lap to win night 2 at the Super Dirt Cup at Skagit Speedway last night. Tanner Holmes gets by Jason Solwald for 3rd place last night. So that was the story of what happened last night out at Skagit Speedway. That Skagit Speedway track,
right?
They got that track figured out there. I'll tell you what, it was some pretty racy action the first 2 nights out there at Skagit Speedway. You can watch that on Flow Racing while you go to Dirt Vision to watch the High Bank Nationals tonight. So a lot of great racing going on.
What are you going to watch tonight, Kirk?
I'm going to watch it all.
You're going to watch it all?
Yeah. Just have to kind of
flipping channels. He'll
flip it back and forth. And
Kirk,
he'll have all his TVs out.
Kirk does a lot of channel flipping.
Well, when he's covering all these races.
You know what I found out? It's easier to wait on anything that's on Flow because they do a better job of posting their archives and make it a little bit more user-friendly to go back and watch on Flow than Dirt Vision has. So I'll be watching everything live on Dirt Vision, then whatever's on Flow, I'll go back and
Kirk's
pick that up.
He's got his day playing, Scott.
Yeah.
He's got his whole evening playing, sounds like.
Well, there's just a lot going on.
We're in the heart of it, right?
Yeah.
And this is the midst of the season.
I thought maybe the other good race last night was Bobby Pierce, who was leading most of the race, but he had to fend off some guys to win that race over at Peebly last night, including Ryan Gustin, who I thought had a chance to make a go of it, but then he gets passed by Tim McCready for second place late, but that was not easy for Bobby Pierce to pull off that win. There's a kind of a combination World of Outlaws Summer Nationals event over there at I-55 Speedway last night, so there was a lot of great racing around. I mean, the tracks at most of these places we've been talking about were well prepped, and therefore we saw some pretty good action last night, didn't we, Scott?
Yep. Sanders stuns McFadden in the prelim at the Dirt Cup.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, that might have been the best finish of the night. Sanders stealing that win for McFadden. James had a bad night on Thursday night. You see, he flipped the car twice in the feature. Not once, but twice he flipped his race car.
Right.
So here's a guy that just got over here from Australia. He was, last year he was a full-time high-limit driver for Roth Motorsports, but he stayed in Australia longer and just recently came back to the States to run the big money show. He's going to be driving for Tarleton Sons, the 21 car. And he won 4 of the 5 races in the fastest 5 days in motorsports and looked like he was the heavy favorite going into the Dirt Cup and still might win the Dirt Cup. But Thursday night, he didn't have a good night at all. And then last night, he fell just less than a lap short from winning the Night 2 prelim.
Kirk, they said that the late models were from southern Missouri last night.
Okay, so that's why I haven't heard of a lot of those guys.
Right.
So, but anyway, congratulations to Dustin Tiger, who wins the late model feature out at Lakeside Speedway. One other race, NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series event out of Pocono yesterday, won by Lane Riggs. And it looked like Corey Heim was going to win another race, but he had a tire go down. Lane Riggs was able to take charge late to win that. And I think the Xfinity Series is out there at Pocono today and the Cup Series tomorrow. And they're one visit to Pocono Raceway. So.
It was on pretty late last night. I think it didn't finish till almost 10 o'clock, right, Kirk? Or
which one?
That truck race. I called you.
No, it was at 4 o'clock.
No, that was
4. It was done
that's
by.
Right. That's right. I'm sorry.
I think it was done by 6:30.
Yeah, it was the early.
Like
it was early.
Of course, they don't have lights in Pocono.
That's right.
They ran it in the late afternoon. So a lot of racing that we watched last night. So track conditions, as we talked about, were terrific at most of these places, and so we look forward to 2 of the big money shows tonight. The highlight tonight has to be the High Bank Nationals, $250,000 to win at Houston, and the $100,000 to win the Super Dirt Cup at Skagit Speedway. Those are the 2 big races we're going to be watching tonight.
All right. Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. Coming up next, Buddy Kofoid.
Track Talk.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
4 minutes, gentlemen, 4 minutes.
Thanks,
the
Ben.
app for all our great content, live streams, social media, and all of our podcast clips in one place. Your one-stop shop for all things 810. Whether you're in your car, at home, or at your kid's soccer game, you'll never miss the action. Download the 810 WHB app today, brought to you by Easton Roofing. Committed to using the best products on the market, installed by the best roofers in the industry. Commercial and residential roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit them at eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Hey, Sorrent Petro here. You've heard me talk about my jersey collection and the amazing job Art and Frame Warehouse did framing them. Right there at 92nd and Metcalf, they have the largest custom framing selection in Kansas City, plus unbeatable prices. Locally owned and operated for over 20 years. They're the go-to for jersey framing, sports memorabilia, shadow boxes, and oversized frames. Gallery quality at warehouse prices. Mention 810 and score big with huge summer discounts. For the best in framing, trust Art and Frame Warehouse. Check out their work at framekc.com. Art and Frame Warehouse, framing done right.
Get ready for the 22nd annual Kansas City Zoo Run, September 20th. The King of the Beast is calling. Join us for the Run for the Lions 4-mile run, or bring the whole pack for the 1-mile Family Fun Run Walk. Earn your lion's share of the glory with a Lion Finisher's Medal, a stylish Go XT, and a free KC Zoo admission on race day. Gather your family and friends and head to the Kansas City Zoo to support our lions in style. Sign up or volunteer now at kansascityzoorun.org. And don't miss a roaring good time.
Hey, it's Dick Ray. If you're having minor issues with your drain,
2 minutes, gentlemen, 2 minutes.
$1 mainline clearing. But if you're always dealing with plumbing problems like leaky pipes and faucets, toilets running and clogging, garbage disposal backups, or a sump pump that overflows, now's the time to finally fix those problems and to take advantage of our brand new Fix It Flex program. We fix it and you get flexible financing starting at 0% or payments as low as $15 a month. So hey, call 913-DICK-RAY today.
This is Matt Beasler, and each season, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City and Sporting KC team up to recognize Blue KC Sporting Samaritans. This is a program that highlights students and teachers who make the Kansas City community a better place to live, work, and play. If you believe someone within the Kansas City education community would be a worthy candidate, please nominate these difference makers by going online to sportingkc.com/bluekc. That's sportingkc.com/bluekc.
Jeff Montgomery here. It's summer and time for baseball, golf, and getting outside. But if you're a man and waking up at night and dealing with frequent urination, it could be an enlarged prostate. Do what I did and speak with Dr. Brown at Miva Medical. They helped me. Their non-surgical procedure got me back in the game fast, and Dr. Brown made the process easy and comfortable. Miva Medical is a leader in minimally invasive treatments right here in Kansas City. Trust them like I did. Visit MivaMedical.com. That's MIVA-medical.com.
Fireworks Mania Superstore opens June 27th with a huge selection at the best prices. 3 miles south of Olathe on Highway 169. They have the coolest thing you'll ever see, Pyro Scan. Just scan the barcode and watch the fireworks before you buy them. Check them out online at fireworks-mania.com. The Firework Mania Superstore is the nicest fireworks store you've ever seen. Located just 3 miles south of Olathe on Highway 169.
Welcome back to Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints.
They call it the 4-state late model series. That was what was Lakeside last night. They're also going to be at Central Missouri Speedway tonight, right, Todd?
Yeah, that's what Alan Miller passed along, so we appreciate Alan passing that along. And,
so you can see that same late model series at Central Missouri Speedway tonight. Oh, by the way, US 36 Raceway up in Osborne had races last night. Congratulations to Chris Wright in the B-Mod class, Shane Bailey in stock cars, Blake Hayes in E-Mods, and Gavin Greer in pure stocks at US 36 Raceway last night. So I'll bet it was
stuff.
hot there too, right?
Yeah, you know it's
It was
hot.
hot everywhere.
You know, the Pure Stocks is led by Don Mars.
At Lakeside.
Yep.
The owner of Lakeside Speedway.
The owner of Lakeside Speedway, and E-Mods, Corey Myers, Chad Eckleberry, and USRA B-Mods, Tim Carrick is leading it.
Hey, before we get into hearing from Buddy Kofoid, big weekend of racing at Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend. The High Limit Racing Series is going to be there for 3 nights. Next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at Lucas Oil Speedway. Kyle Larson's going to be there on
Should
Thursday
I go
night.
get the trailer, Kirk?
Well, I don't know. It's up there in Knoxville right now. Probably should have brought it back last weekend, right?
I'll go up there and pick it up this weekend.
So you'll have a place to stay at Wheatland?
Right.
Yeah, that might be a good call. So anyway, next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 3 big nights of high-limit racing at the Diamond Classic. That is going to be a big week, especially with Larson showing up on Thursday night. I'm not sure he's ever raced at Lucas Oil Speedway, has he? Has Kyle raced? Maybe he has, but anyway, a rare visit by Kyle Larson to Lucas Oil Speedway next Thursday night. Well, Buddy Kofoid will not be there because he's full-time World of Outlaw guy. He'll be up at Cedar Lake Speedway up in Wisconsin next weekend. But tonight, Buddy's got his eyes set on $250,000 for the High Bank Nationals. He almost won that 2 years ago until an engine exploded. And he did win it last year, but they had to postpone it because of the floods up at Houston Speedway. They ran it over Labor Day weekend, and he only earned $100,000. I say he only earned $100,000. They didn't pay out the whole $250,000 at last year's High Bank Nationals. That was delayed to Labor Day weekend, but he is the defending winner of the High Bank Nationals. Well, last Saturday night, Buddy Kofoid also had his best finish at Knoxville. He ends up in 3rd place at Knoxville last Saturday night. And on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show, we had Buddy Kofoid on the show to talk about Knoxville and leading into everything that's happened at Houston's this weekend. Here is part 1 of that interview with Buddy Kofoid. You didn't win on Saturday night, but you got to be thrilled the way you did run at Knoxville. That has to be your best ever finish up there, is it not?
3rd place finish.
Yeah, that was my best outlaw finish. I ran 2nd at an All-Star show there a couple years ago, but I feel like yesterday, or I guess Saturday, a couple days ago now, was the best that I feel like I've ever been able to race, or just moving around and being good kind of wherever I wanted to go, and I feel like I've never had a car that good ever, and for me, which I feel like I'm kind of the weak link there sometimes, unfortunately, I feel like that helps me learn and be better as a driver. Having good people give me a car that can do that. I feel like it progresses your learning curve a lot quicker. But that was a really, really good run for us, and I feel like we needed that, being that was our last race before Nationals, and good to know that we had, I feel like, winning speed.
You picked up $55,000 up there at the Eagle Nationals. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so that was another really good day for us. I feel like these last few weeks we've kind of been getting our consistency back, and similar to last year, and just qualifying better. I feel like that's something that we've kind of lacked at times this year, and changed some things around and got the car better, and got myself better, more confident, early in the night, and that just puts you in position to be able to have a chance to win those races. And yeah, we just put a whole night together, and luckily made it past hot laps this time, last year only got that one lap before the steering box broke, unfortunately. But no, I feel like that was a track that would always be really good for Dylan and I. And I feel like that track's just, the way it races and the way it's shaped, I feel like it just kind of fits into my wheelhouse really well. And, ran fourth there 2 years ago, my first time there, and always, kind of loved running there, wanted to run there with the Roth car, and glad that, we could do that and kind of get redemption and make it count for sure.
You picked up the High Bank Nationals last year. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so that was for sure one of the biggest wins of my career, at least money-wise, and, probably one of the better days of my life for sure. Houston's is just, a place that's kind of fits into my wheelhouse again, and I don't know why. It's just a place that I feel like I've just thrived at there. My first races there were actually in a midget, and won a couple races in the midget there, and if we didn't win, I think we were like third or second the other times, and I just feel like I picked it up really well there and got my first outlaw win there. So that place has always just kind of been special to me, and it's also hurt me at times too. A couple years ago we lost an engine with 9 to go leading for the 250, and then unfortunately we didn't have the 250 last year, but just really glad that everyone there could still give us that race later on for $100,000, and had a full circle moment that same engine that we actually hurt the year prior, they got it back together and decided that it was worthy of another chance, and it paid off. So just I feel like this next couple weekends, or next few weekends really or more, is tracks that are really good for me. And even the last few weeks, like I said, when we've gotten better, it's just been tracks that have been more my wheelhouse, and I think even if they weren't really my thing, we've gotten our car better, where I can learn and be better for them. Like at Knoxville is a good example of a place that I'm not great at, and was able to get a good finish.
Yeah, if there is a downside to winning the High Bank Nationals, it didn't happen on this weekend a year ago. We all know what happened up there. The place flooded, moved to Labor Day weekend. You're not able to get the $250,000, which I think you would have gotten 2 years ago had you finished that race. You were sailing to the checkered flag that night. But $100,000 still not too shabby. But, $250,000 would have been better than $100,000, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is. But, $100,000 is a lot of money too. And, obviously, we do it for a living, but, for me, winning outlaw races and winning, special races like that, or races that are becoming more and more special, like the High Banks and the Hustle. For me, as a driver who appreciates like the history of sprint car racing and what it means to be on the Outlaw Tour, is really just as special, if not more special, than winning that much money. Statistically, obviously it's cool because there isn't really, I don't think there's been that many six-figure winners, but, really in general, the best way I can put it is it's just a really good time to be a sprint car driver right now, and I feel like we're all really lucky, to be racing in a healthy time of sprint car racing. So hopefully we can get that 250 as well. That definitely would be nice, but I'm just thankful to be able to do it.
Well, you look at it this way: you can walk out of there with $350,000. They pay $100,000 on Wednesday night. That's amazing.
Yeah, there's just a lot of, this weekend what Todd Coring and the Houston people do, and the Outlaws, is special. And to be able to even have a chance, like I said, to race for that much money is very rewarding. And, makes me appreciate what people like that do for our sport, but also, for me, for Dennis and Teresa Roth and Toyota and Mobil One, that they trust Dylan, Nate, John, and I to be able to go do this full time and to run the Outlaw Tour, and just to be there is special. But to go there to a place that we know we have speed and where we've won before is also a pretty good feeling too. So hopefully we can just continue our speed and be nice to win some more Outlaw races, but also to make some big money is makes you hungry.
It's great to be a full-time sprint car driver right now, isn't it? In all the money that's at stake right now.
Yeah, like I said before, it's just, I feel fortunate to be racing professionally, in this time where, there's this many six-figure races or even 50,000+ races. Even 20-25 grand is still a lot of money, and
right.
There just seem to be so much more frequent now, and you're racing to me against the best guys in the world, and if you can beat them, you've obviously done something. But to me, it's just gratifying, just to be able to do that. But to, just like I said, living in this day and age where sprint car racing pays this much money is something that I want to take advantage of, but also you still got to take a step back and appreciate what really is happening, and so it's just a good time, like I said, to be a sprint car driver and to be even a crew guy or an owner or anything. I feel like is just rewarding, and like I said, it makes everyone hungry to want to be here and to want to do good.
Betty Kofoid. I'll tell you what, Scott. I mean, this kid, if you just looked at him, if he was just standing on a street corner somewhere, you'd never picture him being a race car driver. And just the way he talks, he's such highly intelligent. But boy, oh boy, has he got talent behind the wheel. This kid can wheel it. I mean, the way he won that race over at Eagle, $55,555, and held off Corey Day, and that was amazing. But then the other night, he starts behind Bill Balog and Kyle Larson. Remember, Larson started on the outside of the front row, and he just outran Larson. Larson drifted as far back to sixth. He still came up to third. But Kofoid just outran those guys. And, of course, Balog able to get the win last night. The North Pole Nightmare had to settle for second on Thursday night. Larson third, Grabble fourth, and Tyler Courtney fifth. I mean, you beat those guys.
Right.
I mean, and then he got a third-place finish at Knoxville the weekend before. And by the way, both those races went green to checker without any yellow flags. Knoxville and Houston's on Thursday night.
Garrett Williamson, he ran pretty good last night, didn't he?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he finished third. He was going to get second, and then Buddy got him right there at the wire.
Right there at the line.
For the second-place spot. But that still third-place finish, the best finish Garrett Williamson has had in his World of Outlaws career so far. He's a full-time guy going for the Kevin Gobrecht Rookie of the Year this year. But the big story, not only Buddy Kofoid and Bill Balog getting it done at Huset's, is the fact that the World of Outlaw guys have dominated the high limit guys. Who thought that was going to, a couple of weeks ago, everybody was saying the high limit guys are winning all these big races. But since Eagle, World of Outlaws have kind of shown the way here a little bit.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Sean Niestep is going to join us next here on Track Talk.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
3 minutes, gentlemen, 3 minutes.
10-4.
Breaking the norm. Every week, my special guests join and we cover the brightest and most compelling side of sports. Inspiration, heart, and a whole lot of positivity from people who have lived life differently. Athletes, entertainers, and people like you and me, sharing their stories of challenges they've overcome, experiences that uplift, motivate, and celebrate the good side of sports and life. Breaking the Norm is presented by TruckMovers.com and First Federal Bank of Kansas City. Every Saturday on Sports Radio 810 at 7 a.m. and Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on ESPN Kansas City.
Ready, set, Blue Hawk. Parents, make this summer amazing at Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. With over a dozen camp choices, your child will find the perfect experience. From sports to gaming to adventure camps, the possibilities are endless. Don't miss out. Limited spots available. Register today at Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. It's all happening at Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, the premier sports and entertainment destination.
Tiger, Dragon, do you have what it takes to win? Be fierce like the tiger, strong like the dragon. Only the brave will survive.
Yeah, that's not how these games work. With Tiger and Dragon from the Kansas Lottery, you can win up to $125,000 or $100K in a second chance drawing.
You are weak.
Ouch. It's not a video game. It's better. Play Tiger and Dragon instant games from the Kansas Lottery.
Let's play.
Yeah, that works. See kslottery.com for details.
Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC has been Kansas
90 seconds.
Since 1995. They're proud to offer the area's biggest selection and best deals on new vehicles. Save up to $14,000 on new GMC Sierra or drive away in a new Buick with 0.9% APR and no payments for 90 days. Hundreds of vehicles, thousands in savings, one trusted name. Visit robertbrogdon.com or stop by I-35 in Santa Fe. Robert Brogdon Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Length of term varies for special APR. Must qualify and finance through GMF.
The FIFA World Cup countdown is on. Join us for the Kansas City kickoff on Sunday, June 22nd at the Asperia campus in Overland Park. This free family-friendly event will have food trucks, live music, activities, sports team appearances, and more. Learn more about the world's largest sporting competition and how you can be part of history in the making. Visit KansasCityFWC2026.com for more details. That's KansasCityFWC2026.com for more details.
Don't miss your opportunity to join Justin Reed at his J. Reed Indeed warm-up event this Sunday afternoon from 3 to 6 at the Hallbrook Country Club in Leawood. J. Reed Indeed focuses on 3 pillars essential for helping children in underfunded and underserved communities become fully charged through technology, nutrition, and athletics. It's going to be an exciting afternoon of friendly competition, good vibes, and community impact. Come swing by for a cause and help us tee up for the future. For ticket and sponsorship information, go to jreedindeed.com.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. Sean Neestep is going to join us here in a minute. We want to talk about Rodney Sanders picking up the big win down there at
well, actually, that was at Off-Road Speedway in Norfolk, Nebraska that night. USMTS in action this weekend. I see they had 19 cars at Norfolk, Nebraska the other night. Rodney Sanders just dominated that event. He won by nearly 4 seconds. And then they took a night off, and they were at Amarillo's Route 66 Speedway, another racetrack you've been to. You've been at Amarillo, Texas, Route 66 racetrack. Mark Smith wins the feature after starting on the pole position last night. Terry Phillips, Tanner Mullins, and Kyle Westover, along with A.J. Stevenson in the top 5. See, Rodney Sanders started 12th and ended up 7th, pretty close to his hometown of Happy, Texas. But the car count, much better last night for the USMTS. They had 46 entries, and they're going to be racing again tonight down at Amarillo. And if you want to watch that, go to racingdirt.com to check out the modified action.
Kirk, Sean Neestep is one of the best announcers in the business, isn't he?
Just outstanding announcer. He's one of the great announcers in the country. And he and Johnny Gibson are working very well together up there at Houston Speedway this weekend. He is the voice of Houston Speedway and also Jackson Motorplex, too. And we had Sean on our show Monday, mostly motorsports, to preview this week's activities up at Houston Speedway. Here is part one of our interview with the Houston Speedway announcer Sean Niestedt from earlier this week. High Bank Nationals, $250,000. That means one driver can walk out of there with $350,000. Is that true?
Yeah, actually more than that, because Wednesday and Friday night are $20,000 to win. So, I mean, you're looking at astronomical dollar amounts, and we were talking about it here last night. And this not only could change somebody's season, but if somebody really hits it out of the ballpark this week, it could kind of change their life. I mean, it is a significant amount of money, and really looking forward to it. I love this new format, and really looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. Those first two nights are married together, and so if a driver, let's talk about the opposite end of that spectrum, if a driver comes out Wednesday and Thursday and they have a tough go of it, Friday everything resets. They're still right back in the running for the $250,000 on Saturday.
So lay out the format, how this is all going to work now.
But without getting too deep into the details, the very simple part of it is Wednesday night is the qualifying for the Huset's Hustle. It's a full show, $20,000 to win. How you perform that night carries over into Thursday to set up that show. Again, a full night of racing, $100,000 to win. And then when we go to bed Thursday night, you can forget about everything that just happened, like you can forget about a six-figure payday, right? But you forget about that, and Friday morning we wake up and it starts all over again. Everybody's fresh. The point totals are fresh, and nothing carries over other than, maybe some momentum and feeling good. But then Friday night, full show, qualifying, and that sets up the Saturday racing action, and then somebody walks out of here with $250,000. So I really like, a few years ago when we got the full show in, the whole week kind of carried over. So if you come out Wednesday or you had a bad night on Thursday, it puts you behind the eight ball when the big money was on the line. Now you can come out, you can throw some wild setups at the car. You can try some things Wednesday and Thursday. It's crazy to say that, you might throw away a chance at $100,000, but you do that in hopes of $250,000. So I think it sets up a whole different mindset for the competitors. And I also like, with the World of Outlaws, NOS Energy Drink Sprint Car Series, it's show-up points only. So these drivers don't have to worry about the season-long standings all week long. All they've got to worry about is coming in here and taking home some big money.
What do you think? You think Buddy Kofoid is the odds-on favorite?
Boy, isn't it? I think it's so hard to put favorites. I guess I'll leave that to the experts. But Buddy looked so good here, and he's always been good here. He looked great here in a midget when we had those years ago. He was fast and got his first World of Outlaws win here, and coming off the victory here last year, he was so strong. But you have to remember that Carson Macedo come up an eyelash short of getting by Buddy on that final lap with that slide job that started about a third of the way down the backstretch. So it's hard to pick favorites. Everything's going to have to go right for them. And how do you bet? If you're going to put the prognosticator hat on or pretend to be Vegas and put odds on it, it's really hard to rule out David Gravel with the season he has going and how fast that number 2 car was this last weekend at Knoxville. And of course he's won here for big money in the past. And if things get right, Sheldon Haudenschild loves to rip around the top side of the speedway. We remember his $100,000 victory here a few years ago where he went from third to first in the final lap. So, Buddy Kofoid's right in the mix. To say he's a favorite, I don't know. You could, but I think it's really hard to pick a favorite when you're coming into a bull ring like this. It's so tight. Things happen so quickly, and we'll see. I guess that's why we buy the tickets and show up, right?
That's it. And, Ryan Timms, we had him on our show a week ago, and he's run really well at Houston Speedway. Not as well as the previous 2 weeks last night, but Ryan Timms has certainly got this track figured out, didn't he?
Yeah, Ryan has always been fast here at Houston. It's from the first time he raced here. I think he was running up towards the front, and that was before, he was eligible to race with the Outlaws. So I think he was 15 the first time he raced here, and he was running in the front of the field and got over the cushion in turn 3 and got into the outside concrete, and that ended that. Well, he showed up the next time, and he got a win here. So he's always been very fast here at Houston, and now teamed up with Shane Liebig and his team out of the Black Hills of South Dakota, which if you're listening from somewhere, not in our area, the Black Hills of South Dakota are 6 hours away. We're a huge state. But for that team to put in the investment that they have to run down at Knoxville regularly and run here, they're so far from home. But you wouldn't know it because they are very, very fast. And, of course, Shane and the entire Liebig family has a lot of experience racing here at Houston, too. So that marriage, so to speak, of that team already paying dividends, and I think they're going to become even faster and even more dangerous to go into these big shows. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Timms is in the mix for one of these big paydays here. He was up there the other night at Knoxville. He was in the running to get his first Outlaws victory and faded there at the very final stage, but I think he wouldn't mind if that first Outlaws victory would come here at Houston, and I know he really wouldn't mind if it paid 6 figures.
Sean Niestep, the voice of Houston Speedway. We're going to hear more from Sean, Hour 2, exclusively on Racing Boys, and we got more from Buddy Kofoid, too, so we'll hear from them. We're going to do things a little bit differently on our Mostly Motorsports show beginning this Monday.
Kurt, your sock is down.
The sock on my microphone is down. Okay. It doesn't change anything, though, right?
Right.
So anyway, we are going to do things a little bit differently starting Monday on Mostly Motorsports. We're not going to stream the show live as we've done in the past, but we're still going to have a podcast on our podcast section, Mostly Motorsports. It'll be posted late Monday or at the very latest early Tuesday. Right, Todd?
That's right. Well, it'll still be up pretty much the same time. Only thing would change is if for some reason we got a driver that can't come on, and we need to get him on a little bit later. That's kind of the trouble we've been running into a little bit is we try to get some of these drivers, and it sometimes it's a little tough. So
we need a little bit more flexibility
Absolutely.
when we go to scheduling the guests, and The live stream is great, but that's not the big part of that. It's a podcast.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so that's you can go to racingboys.com and see the podcast section of all of our previous podcasts that we do on Monday. That's where we draw the most listeners, the live stream. It just the benefits are going to outweigh
Absolutely.
Doing it live by giving us more flexibility. And I think at some point we can better do the Zoom.
Yeah, we can incorporate the Zoom into our shows,
which we haven't done with the live podcast. No. So beginning Monday, we're still going to produce the show, but it's just not going to be a live stream. But we'll post it either late Monday or at the very latest Tuesday morning for the week.
Yes,
Mostly
sir.
Motorsports, and we'll put out on the social network tweets and also live Facebook posts of when that show is posted on our podcast section, right? So,
absolutely.
That's
all right,
the way we're going to do it.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Buddy Kofoid and Sean Niestep again.
And you never know what else we're going to be talking about. So, but anyway,
We
Hour 2 exclusively on racingboys.com, Facebook, and our YouTube page.
You're making our NASCAR picks, Hour 2.
There we go. I haven't even thought about that yet.
We got to pick up what's going on at Huset's and Skagit.
And we'll do all of that. Thanks to Jay Powers, Todd Surprise, great job. For Scott Trailer, I'm Kirk Elliott. We'll talk to you next Saturday right here on Track Talk.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Get ready for
Thanks,
Jurassic
man.
Size
Appreciate it, bro.
fun this summer at the Kansas.
All right, good stuff. See you guys next week.
Rock and roll, man. Have a good week.
All right, you too.
Imagine running now through August 24th.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Here at Specialty Sportswear in-house, we do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other add specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Sabres 33 RLP. Let's go take a tour. Coming into this animal, we're going to take a trip back here to the feature of this trailer, the deck. Check it out. It's awesome. It's 4 by 10 feet. You can dance on this thing. Boom! Check it out. It's pretty nice. And then coming to the back of this thing, you got a 75-inch TV. It's huge. 60-inch fireplace. It's nice and big, keep you warm. Then you got an ottoman that converts into a table, if you will. Maybe some TV trays. Then this hide-a-bed that I'm pointing at, it comes out and folds into like a king-size bed with storage in the corner for all your linens. Great little addition to the trailer. Your dinette, of course. Then you're gonna come around to the kitchen with the tic-toc sink. It's got the spritzer and the waterfall and all that stuff. Residential style refrigerator. It's got the microwave and the oven that's residential as well. Big old pantry over here with motion detected lights, coffee bar, and then coming up to the bedroom, you'll have the bathroom first, nice and spacious with a seat in it for them ladies. And then we got the king size bedroom with washer dryer hookup. I'm telling you, this is a home run for a couples coach. Come and see me, Kyle Walker.
Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
So we have a lot of folks come in
interested in traveling for work, this is going to be a great option. Your Coachman Northern Spirit 2565 front kitchen. You have a nice wraparound full front kitchen here, huge windows up top, big 12-volt refrigerator, lots of windows on the sides here, great natural light coming in. You have your big TV over here on the swing arm bracket so you can kind of see it from any point in the room. Also have your bar stools here, sit and eat your breakfast. In the bedroom, you're going to have a king-size bed in the slide-out. Lots of storage underneath that. Washer, dryer, hookup, tons of storage with the drawers. Then you got your full bath across the back. When it comes down to a camper that you can get for 6,500 pounds and be under 30 feet long, this is an absolute home run.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guide. You are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas.
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Track Talk is brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Kirk, the second annual Stuart Allen Memorial is going on up at Eagle Raceway today.
Friday Night Lights tonight. I see they're going to start later. Some of these, and this is a good call, starting later because of the hot weather tonight at Eagle, and I'm sure most of these other places too. I know Central Missouri Speedway, they've got late models. The same late model series that was at Lakeside last night will be down at CMS tonight. So, and they started late at Houston's last night too, which was a good call. And
right.
That helped save the racetrack, too.
It did.
So if you're going to start late, tonight would be the night.
They did a really good job up at Huset's.
They did.
Getting that track prepped.
It didn't rubber down. That's the main thing right there. So and that was hard to keep that from doing last night. But
the wind was blowing pretty hard.
Yeah, when the wind blows like that and it's hot, you got to keep throwing a lot of water at it, which they did last night, and it saved it.
Hey, Todd, 32 states.
Yeah, that's pretty bad today.
32 states have got a heat wave.
Yep, heat advisory for over 150 million people today. So you guys need to be drinking. It's kind of, I mean, you need to be drinking water now, but it's kind of late. You need to be always drinking enough water on these days. If you're going to be out there at that track, especially you drivers, you drivers know how that is. You're going to lose a lot of water working on that car and working in the pits and scraping mud off and everything. So
and those drivers in those fire suits strapped in those race cars.
You just
how hot is that?
Yeah, you just have to pound the waters during the day because it makes all the difference in the world at night, you know. And normally you think a beer would be able to cool you off and cringe you, you know, but you're going to need to have one bottle of water for every beer you drink. That's what they tell you. If
it's hot in Brandon, South Dakota,
Sioux
Falls area tonight, how hot's it going to be in Batesville, Arkansas tonight?
We know damn well what it feels like in Kansas City when it gets hot. I can't imagine what the people in South Dakota, you know, we're talking.
They're not used
to this kind of heat. I just can't imagine.
Tony Pittman says that let's talk a little bit about the late models
I was
down
gonna
at CMS.
Just finish up at Batesville, Arkansas. That's where the ASCS National Tour is going to be tonight, Batesville Speedway. And Sam Hafertepe leads Matt Covington by 76 points heading into tonight's event. Blake Hahn is 80 points back. Those guys put on a hell of a show here last weekend. And now they're going to take it to Batesville, Arkansas. Big half-mile racetrack down there. Another track you've been to, Scott, that I've never been to. Batesville, Arkansas.
I've been there a couple times.
Yeah, so we'll be watching that tonight on Dirt Vision. See how the
Sam
ASCS guys
Hafertepe leads
yep.
Matt Covington by 76 points.
Yes, sir.
Hey,
Blake is less than 100 points back as well. So it's going to be hard to run down Sam for his 6th title. That's what he's going for this year. But you never know.
Did you
still
see
a long way to go.
They have the. Did you see the price that they're asking for CMS? Anybody see that?
I did not see that.
That news article. Looks
so
like
what-
about one. So Central Missouri Speedway is for sale for the price of $1 million. Is what the press asking price is right now.
That's a lot of money for that little bitty dirt track.
Well, I'd like to see it remain a dirt track. I'm not sure at that price that's going to be that way, but I'd like to see it remain as a dirt track.
Along with the racetrack itself, which sits on 30-plus acres of land with a lake and diesel water pump, the purchase includes the Pub 13 bar and restaurant ready to operate, 2 concession stand buildings, the pit office, technical inspection, equipment storage building, and 2 large grandstands.
What I like about the way Central Missouri Speedway is right now, it's ready to go. You don't really have to go in and make a whole bunch of improvements to the facility.
They're also
It's ready to go for a new owner to step in. The facility is there, and I just hope and pray that it remains a racetrack, because I'm not sure, Scott, how many years we've got with Lakeside Speedway and Valley Speedway here in Kansas City. What tracks are going to remain in 10 years from now? What tracks are we going to see left around here?
I think Lakeside Speedway it's going to end up being a special track.
Well, I think in the near term that's probably true, but I don't know what Don Mars's future plan. I think he'd like to keep it going as a weekly racetrack, but with the tax base out in Wyandotte County, what is the future of a racetrack in Wyandotte County? Valley Speedway, we know the whole story of that. They're working under a conditional use permit under the city, so I think as long as Dennis Shrout wants to operate Valley Speedway, it'll still be around for a while, but how much longer? And, of course, the open future of I-70 Speedway, that dirt track sitting in limbo now with all the legal wranglings going on out there. I'm thinking Central Missouri Speedway is the closest track to Kansas City that could have a long-term future, and I just hope that it's priced to sell to somebody who wants to keep it a racetrack.
I-70 Speedway is toast.
Well, for now it is, but I mean, there is a chance it may come back if Steve Bailey acquires the ownership of that property. But then what is Scott Higgs's plans, for the drag strip? I would think that he would like to have the whole property out there. But I don't know what the future is for I-70 Speedway. It doesn't look very good right now. We'll just have to see how all that plays out. But you look at Central Missouri Speedway and where it's located, it's only, about 40 minutes from Kansas City? And it could be the closest racetrack to the Kansas City metro area in another 10 or 15 years. So
I've got a lot of memories out there at I-70 Speedway.
Yeah. Well, if you buy
when it was pavement.
Yeah. A long time ago, though.
That's not coming back. Yeah. The old paved I-70 Speedway days are in our memories now.
See, with that CMS,
you know what they need to do? They need to repave that racetrack.
They're not going to. That's never going to happen.
Too much money.
Yeah.
So
any pavement going on, it's going to be over the racetrack.
So along with that, you also get with CMS, they're also including all the motorized equipment, which is the Cat grader, 2 water trucks, the large and small tractor, the box blade,
Well, that's worth
sheep's
money.
foot, 2 wreckers, and a push truck. So that.
So you got the equipment and you got everything
Absolutely.
ready to go.
And
it is ready made for a new
CMS.
owner to come
Yeah,
in.
CMS, and also that it also includes the 130 transponders, scoring loop. So all it's basically turnkey, right? That's
Yeah.
what they call that. You just walk in,
Turnkey
ready to
ready.
go.
fire it up, and it's ready to go. You hire your staff, and you can go. So I think if anybody is serious about purchasing a racetrack, that's not a bad asking price for the amount of stuff what you're getting, like you said, and like Kirk said, this could be one of the racetracks that might be left after the smoke clears. So it could be well worth your investment because it could be your only.
And have they done all the work they're going to do with the highway around that?
You
I'm not
know,
sure on that,
if
is that
if CMS is gone and I-70 is gone and Lakeside is gone,
what are we going to have left?
Yeah.
Knoxville and Lucas Oil Speedway.
I don't
That'll
see.
be it.
Yeah, I don't see CMS leaving though. But I think somebody's probably going to purchase because it's too much of a easy way to just roll in there and fire this thing back up. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, they've done a great job with the facility,
Yeah.
so you don't have to make a lot of improvements there.
You're not having to worry about the town. They're all supporting. You know what I mean? I just
county and the town, I would think that could be all. The only question I have is they did some work to the highway.
Yeah, that could
but
be.
Is that all done now? I
Yeah,
don't
who
think
knows?
they.
I figure
had
by-
they planned on at one time. They planned on widening
They
Highway
got-
13 out there. Is that still maybe in the plans?
there's
I
a
don't know.
roundabout right
There's
down.
a roundabout.
Yep.
Yeah. So I can't imagine that they're going to expand Highway 13 anytime soon. Are they? I don't know.
I have no idea on that. I just know that there's quite a few news stories about it. Which you don't normally see. News stories across the board with. But yeah, it's.
But it's a great facility. It's fairly close to Kansas City.
Absolutely.
And it could remain a great racetrack well into the future in the right hands. So let's hope
It
that
would be
happens.
sad to see CMS go away.
Yeah, here's the one.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, so in his statement it says my sons and grandsons all have lives of their own and very busy with their own careers, so it's time to sell the facility and move on with it. We will sell it as a racetrack or for development. So
That part I don't like.
that's
to
the
hear.
part you don't want to hear. So if there's somebody out there that wants to step up or knows a few people that want to step up, and might be the one to kind of jump on. That's just my opinion.
And the other track I don't see going away anytime soon, Sweet Springs. I think that's going to remain for a while.
Yeah,
but then you talk about Sedalia, the Fairground Speedway. How much longer is that going to be around? Of course, they only race there once a year now. So.
Yeah, just once a.
So really, all you have left, all the tracks in Topeka are gone. You wonder how much longer Lakeside and Valley are going to be around.
But you know what?
Question marks with I-70. What's left?
Yeah, that
in
what's
the
pretty
Kansas
cool
City
though.
area?
Up
You
there,
got I-35 Speedway to the north. You got US 36 Raceway. Those two racetracks could be around a while.
Right.
I expect I-35 to be around a good long while. US 36, of course, we just lost Mike Franks this past year. How much longer is the family going to keep that around? I think they want to keep that around. You got the drag strip up there and so forth. So
Do you
I think
think-
I-35 and US 36 are probably the two most stable tracks in the area. You add Sweet Springs to that. Then what do you have left in the Topeka, Kansas City area?
What do you think about US 36 becoming a special track?
Well, it's a weekly track now because John Bowler is leased out the track. It's
Right.
running it pretty much on a weekly basis now. That could remain. But, weekly racing is tough everywhere. The only track that I see is drawing good car counts on a weekly basis is Eagle Raceway up in Nebraska.
Yeah.
Right.
And they draw terrific car counts, enough to have B features in a lot of those classes. Lucas Oil Speedway still draws a fairly decent number of cars for their weekly classes, but everywhere else is really struggling for car count right now for their weekly shows.
Hey, I forgot to mention, I've been watching that Topeka Quarter Midget Association out there in Topeka. They got a really, that cool little track out there. Have you ever seen that track? I stopped and visited that track.
Yeah,
and
I've
watched,
seen it.
They've got racing going on out there today, guys.
That's the only racing in Topeka
That's
you
right.
have left.
And let me tell you something. It's a pretty cool. It's really
a little pavement track.
And it's a really cool track. It's great setup. Today, they've got the Jerry Rentschler Memorial Race presented by High Performance Fireworks. Saturday, June 21st. So racing's going to begin, like Kirk said. Everything's going to be late, so it's a 7 p.m. They won't be out there during the day on that asphalt and concrete. So that's out there at 1121 University Boulevard out there in Topeka, Kansas. But man, they do a really good job, guys, of posting on Facebook, and they post every one of those little kids' picture with them winning each week. And like you said, man, that's kind of important, man, because if you don't have these kids in this
right.
Who knows what's going to happen in the future? You know what I'm saying? So
kids don't go to races like they used to.
And that's why the Brayson boys have stepped up and got involved with the flag kid out here at Lakeside Speedway with Lisa Burlington's new program that she set up. Anything to get some kids out to the track, and so we're glad to be involved with
Ken
it.
says Marshalltown has a good car count.
Marshalltown, Iowa.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a great racetrack up there. So there are several racetracks up in Iowa that are still doing pretty well. Boone and a lot of places like that, Marshalltown. But here in and around the Kansas City area and Topeka, we don't have that many tracks left.
Not much left. And we know it's expensive. Racing's not running the tracks. We know that's expensive, but we're just talking about just racing in general now, guys, is high dollar. It's very expensive, and so I get it. There's just not nearly the amount of people out there making this a sport. I know 3 or 4 race car drivers that have bought, 3 of them that bought a side-by-side, the little side-by-side
I haven't
runners
raced in 14 years.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that, have kind of stopped.
Well, a
doing that.
lot has changed since you last raced on a weekly basis. I remember the days of the I-70 Speedway, Scott. You were racing out there. That was a unique circumstance, the old I-70 Speedway. There were people that drove in from 2-3 hours every Saturday night to watch those races. You raced in the modified division out there.
In the super truck
race show out there. That was, we'll never see that again here in this area, that weekly pavement.
You don't think they'll
racing
ever pave
program.
that racetrack?
No. Not a chance. I think this I-44 is still open, right, down in Lebanon, Missouri. Yep. That's
yeah, you still see
they
posts.
spent a lot of money building that facility up down there, but they don't have races there on a weekly basis, I don't think. But they've still got events down at I-44 Speedway. So the world has changed. Kids today have more options to spend their time and money now.
Right.
When we were growing up, what else was you going to do but go to the racetrack? You didn't have a whole lot of. You didn't have the smartphone like you do today. It's just the world is so much different now.
The smartphone is taking over the world.
Yeah, it's made things a lot.
Todd,
different.
what do you think about that?
Well, we knew it was coming. It used to be pretty funny, but I used to tell those teachers in high school and grade school, and I'd be like, why do I have to learn all this stuff? We're going to have a calculator in our pocket when we grow older. And ladies used to laugh, say, you're crazy. You're never going to have all this information. You have to learn this stuff. And now we're walking around and it's right here in our pocket.
It's all in your pocket.
90% of everything you need to find out is going to be, so I get it. The world has changed. What I would say to do, racetracks are going to need to incorporate, what you do on your phone with the track. So I would try to find some way of setting up an app to where you can download and you can get all the drivers' names on your phone.
Instead of promoters fighting technology, you've got to
embrace this. You've got to embrace this technology.
Embrace it, adapt it,
Absolutely.
Incorporate it into what you're doing.
Have get a digital downloadable coupon where you get a free drink if you buy something in the thing. There's a lot of ways to go about this, and these kids are not going to not changing. They're getting smarter every year, and we're getting less smart every year. So,
but racing is still an attractive sport. To
well, it is,
watch.
and it always will be.
It's a great product. You just have to adapt to the changes of technology and grow with it instead of fight against it.
Absolutely. What I would do is I would definitely make sure you had some places where people can recharge their phone.
Yep.
That's a big thing, even for older people. We know we walk out and forget, damn, my phone's almost dead. You know what I mean?
Right.
They used to have those charging stations out of Kansas Speedway, and it was like a little box that had like 12 different types of hookups for all kinds of different phones. You know, now we're just down to 2 kind of hookups. So I would try to incorporate that. Something like Lisa's doing out
Make
there.
Make sure you got good internet
Internet's
at all these racetracks.
Yeah, internet's a big deal out there.
Kirk, you need to do the Hall of Fame read.
Let's do it. It's there's no racing at Knoxville tonight. They're taking the week off because of everything going on up at USITS, but the Hall of Fame is still open. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum opens 7 days a week, and they have the Manzanita Speedway Salute at the Hall of Fame up there. Some great race cars you want to go check out that raced around Manzanita Speedway. I think it closed in 2009. Jesse Hockett won one of the, I think he did win the last sanctioned race at Manzanita Speedway, and they got that race car up there on display at the Hall of Fame. So it's there till October the 1st. And don't forget to visit the gift shop while you're at the Hall of Fame. If you want to see all the items there, go to sprintcarstuff.com. The Corvette giveaway is coming up soon. Man, we're just less than a couple of months before they draw for the ZR1 with the ZPK Performance Package Competition Yellow Corvette. They're going to soon get that, and they're going to place it in the window up there. I don't think they have got delivery of the car yet, but it's when they do, which should be coming up any time, they'll have it on display in the window up there. It's a beauty, folks. And man, it's powerful too. 1,064 horsepower, this car. And it can be yours. If you enter the drawing, go to winacorvette.org to get registered. If you win it, you get the $30,000 cash to pay the taxes and all of that. Last day to enter is the next day after the Knoxville Nationals, and they'll draw for it the next Saturday. Winacorvette.org to get registered. And once again, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame Museum, even though there's not races up there this weekend, they're open 7 days a week.
We want to give a shout-out to Ryan Ragland. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday, Ryan.
Absolutely. I think he's driving down the road. And look, he posted on the comment section he's going to buy him a new truck, it looks like, maybe today.
He's hoping that the rain goes away from Lernerville tonight and they get the Firecracker 100 in. Not so good with Mother Nature at Lernerville Speedway the last couple of nights. And he probably tuned in to watch Bobby Pierce hold off Ryan Gustin and Tim McCready to win that World of Outlaws race last night. So, happy birthday, Ryan Ragland.
Absolutely.
So should we get into
Buddy Kofoid part
two, Buddy Kofoid?
Yeah, in this interview, I want to just say real quick, it's a lot longer than most of our other interviews, so I cut out some more stuff too. So episode 364, wherever you get your podcasts at.
If you want to hear the whole interview uncut,
unedited,
go to the podcast section on racingboys.com.
That's right. But we're going to have part 2 right here, and like you said, he kind of wraps up everything what he's got going on in his world, and that's episode 364, Kirk.
So one of the hottest drivers in all of sprint car racing right now is coming off that $100,000 to win Huset's Hustle on Thursday night. He's going for $250,000 and a repeat of the High Bank Nationals. Here's more from Buddy Kofoid, our interview that we had earlier this week on Mostly Motorsports. Hey, I want to talk more about these races at Eagle and Knoxville on Saturday night. That pace that you set at Eagle was just absolutely incredible. I mean, the fact that you had Corey Day hot on your heels right there, just what was going through your mind when you had that 14 car right behind you. Just kind of talk about how you were able to hang in front of him.
Yeah, so I knew we had a good car. I felt like we came out of the box really good, from hot laps to qualifying heats and all that all day. And the track changed so much. They've worked it a lot, which was a really good thing because I feel like it was kind of rubber. But they worked it really good, and the bottom actually was really good, and I feel like I could run it for a while before I had to move up. But you could still move around really early, and even I think really late. There was still, Macri was really good on the bottom when I didn't think there was really much of a bottom to run down there. But yes, I once it kind of got more distinctive, I knew I needed to be in 3 and 4, but I wasn't 100% sure where I needed to be in 1 and 2. Sorry, I didn't know I needed to be when we had that. I think it was that first yellow after that long run. Those next couple yellows, I still was unsure if I needed to get to the bottom or to run the top because I didn't feel stellar in either. At least that was in traffic, so it got me kind of overthinking. But once I kind of figured out that I needed to be on the top for myself and Clean Air in 1 and 2. But before that, I just wasn't sure, and that was my biggest second guess. Where you trying to figure out where you need to be because you got guys behind you that are doing, pretty much the opposite of you, or they're gauging themselves off you. So as a leader, it makes it tough. But I think once I figured out that I needed to be on the top in both ends, I felt like we had a good chance to win. It was just, when Corey slid me and then I crossed him back, I was like, okay, I need to get off the bottom. So, but before that, it was made me think about it real hard for a minute. But no, we just had a really good car where I could move around wherever. And these sprint car races, that you got to be able to have maneuverability, and I feel like that's something that Dylan is really good at, giving me a car that can do that, especially like I said at Knoxville, where that's what I feel like helped me get from 10 to 3 there.
Yeah, I mean, there were no yellow flags at Knoxville on Saturday night. That thing went from green to checker. How tired were you there at the end of that race? Did you feel like you had a lot left at the checkered flag?
I wasn't tired per se. I feel like I could have ran more, but I could feel my tires, I feel like, kind of getting hot, or like they kind of maybe gain stagger because I feel like I freed up at the end. But I wasn't tired more than I was just hot. And I feel like when you get that hot, because it was really muggy and it was really hot that day, and really the whole weekend I feel like was pretty hot, like one of the first actual hot weekends we've had this year. And just with the humidity and just the sun being down on you, it's kind of hard to escape that heat. And I think that just kind of got to me more than being physically tired.
Talk about that move you made on Brad Sweet. You dove down to the bottom coming off turn number 4. That was a hell of a move. Describe that.
Yes, I was pretty content with running the top. I felt phenomenal everywhere. And that's a place, this is still, like I said, a place I struggle at, but, I could run the top, and then, Knoxville's a rhythm track, but I feel like I could go to the bottom and make really good speed on the bottom if I didn't run it for 10 laps, and I can move back up, make speed, move back down and make the same speed. So I got to Brad and Ryan, and they were racing, and I think Ryan tried to chop Brad into 3, and I stayed on the top, and then I think Brad actually got back in front of him, and I just had a full head of steam down the front, and Brad went to the top into 1. I think Ryan dove down, and I was already pointing towards the bottom, and I was thinking, man, don't stick the bottom, try and slide him, and he did just that. He tried to slide him, and then I think Brad turned under him, and then I just stuck the bottom really well and kind of blocked Brad out of getting back to the berm, and was able to pick them both off, which was more than I thought was actually going to happen. So it worked out really good, and just our car was just phenomenal. I did not feel like myself at Knoxville, that's for sure. So that just all goes to Dylan, Nate, and John, and their talent. Is getting me better at a place that I probably struggle at the most.
Todd is really good at showing your merch page. Talk about your merchandise a little bit.
Yeah, so I haven't had it out my trailer out much, but finally got some new merch for this year a few weeks ago. So we got a couple different designs of the Burgundy car, which people seem to really like. So, just on my website, bybuddykofoid.com. Or if you're at a track, love to see you at the track and get some. But, I finally got some new stuff so people can hopefully buy it up.
This been a match made in heaven, you and hooking up with Dennis and Teresa Roth. Do you feel like that this is a situation that you always dreamed of? I mean, from the outside looking in, this looks like a match made in heaven.
I think so. I think I've had the most fun in my career racing sprint cars with Roth Motorsports. And I've wanted to work with Dylan Buswell for a while. And to me, he's one of the best crew chiefs, on the road right now in any form of sprint car racing. And I'm just, like I said, I'm just really lucky to have him, in my corner, and I don't want him to work for anyone else. And he's just been really patient, but easy to work with, and mild tempered like me, and just even keel, but he works his butt off. And Nate and John, I feel like they complement him really well, and help him take care of things so he can focus on just getting the car right or looking at the track. But no, he is probably he's probably the best person I've ever worked with in my career. So I'm just, like I said, just really happy, and I'm extremely lucky to have him, but also be able to race for Dennis and Teresa Roth, and Todd Ventura, with Andy Graves from Toyota has been really special, and especially coming from California myself, growing up seeing the Roth car and racing against the Roth cars, a little more special for me too, personally. So I'm just, like I said, just really thankful, and never thought that I would be here, but glad I am.
You're second in outlaw points right now, but the way gravel is running right now, you just kind of just go for the wins and let the rest of it take care of itself the way gravel is running?
You're 176 points back. Do you feel like you got a chance to overtake David Gravel?
I don't really think about the points, to be honest. I just race. Try not to do anything that'll put me in a bad position where I'll lose points ahead of me or behind me or anything like that. Because, the season is so long and anything can happen. But obviously, we're racing with the best drivers in the world, so you got to be on top of it. But David is just very good right now, and they're the benchmark. But Carson and Sheldon, Logan and Donnie, they're all so good right now too, and everyone's so close. So you still got to be, like I said, on top of it every single night, and you got to be. I don't believe in perfection, but pretty much you have to be near perfect every time with the Outlaws, and that's what David is right now. And but it's nice to know that we can, match his pace and race with him more consistently now, and even with Carson and Logan and all of them is cool to me, and to see my name up there is pretty rewarding. But it's not easy, but I'm, at the end of the day, take it race by race. I've learned that with racing USAC. You got to take it race by race, and it makes you a better points racer, I think, when you kind of don't think about it, but try and race as consistent, as hard as you can, but stay disciplined enough to not put yourself in bad positions, but also it teaches you to how to get more and makes you think about it a lot more. But David is, like you said, David is ahead quite a bit, but anything's possible. And, but we just go race.
Well, good luck to you up at Huset's this week. It's going to be a big week for you up there. I'm just amazed that after you grenaded that engine 2 years ago that they were able to save that engine block. That's absolutely incredible to me. And not only that, you come back and got a men's last year with that. Amazing stuff up there with the Toyota engines. But you're able to recover from 2 years ago to win the race, and I think you're one of the heavy favorites this week based on your performance up at Huset's. Good luck to you this week up there. Congratulations to all your success, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate that, and hopefully we can do something good this week and make some money. But yeah, no, thank you for having me on the show, and hopefully we can do it later on as a winner of some big money.
Well, I'd say mission accomplished. That was before he won the race on Thursday night. So, yeah, he's won some money. So I think he's already
picked up $100,000.
Yeah. So no matter what happens tonight, he's already won some money, hasn't he?
He has.
So, Buddy Kofoid getting it done. Somebody put a stat up on the screen last night. I don't know if you saw this or not, but since Buddy Kofoid won last Labor Day weekend at Houston Speedway, he's got as many outlaw wins as David Gravel since that time. Can you believe that? And Gravel went on and won the championship last year, but after Buddy won that High-Back Nationals, he went on a tear, went out to the West Coast, out in his home state of California, won a bunch of races out there, ended up the season on a strong note. He's done very well this year, but the fact that he's got as many World of Outlaw wins as David Gravel does since Labor Day weekend last year, that's pretty incredible.
It's pretty incredible.
Hey, before we get part two of Sean Neistat, I wanted to play this interview of Corey Day from last Saturday night. He won at Knoxville for the second year in a row, the June World of Outlaw race last week. Of course, Corey is not racing sprint car this weekend. I think, is he in the Xfinity race at Pocono today?
I don't know.
I'll look at he wasn't in the truck race last night. So anyway, Corey Day coming off that win at Knoxville last Saturday night. Here's my conversation with the young California driver after his big win last Saturday night at Knoxville.
Yeah, I think, I was a little unsure of my race car there compared to last year. Last year I was, really, really confident. This year we've been working on it all weekend. So it was really nice to hit it when it mattered.
How much of a disadvantage is it you're not racing these cars full time now?
It's big. I honestly wouldn't say it's as big for me. I can stay studied up watching these guys a lot, and I can know what I need to do, but stuff changes, week in and week out with setup and tires and everything that goes on with getting these things around the racetrack that we don't have half the track time that these guys do, so that's really where our disadvantage is.
How were you able to run down and pass Brad Sweet for the lead?
We were really good on the cushion, and he was, I don't know if he was cruising around or not, and I actually found some speed turning down off two and got a run on him, and I knew, I'd paced him for a number of laps there, and knew if I kept pacing him, I might have lost my chance, so I knew I had to go.
You had David Gravel chasing you down right there. How much did you know he was behind you?
Yeah, I saw the board. I saw the twos behind me, and, if the two's behind you recently or, in the past couple of years, in the last couple laps, you better expect them to be there. So, I figured he was coming quick. My pace had slowed down a lot with those lap cars. I just got really, really tight there towards the end and was struggling pretty bad. So, I was glad it wasn't, 5 laps longer. I think I'd have really been in trouble.
Did the racetrack change? It was green to checker, no yellow flags.
Yeah, it changed a lot. The cushion just peeled up a lot, got really rough, and Yeah, I just, changed my race car a lot. So we got good notes, though, for sure for the Nationals. And I think it'll be super beneficial for us, coming into that week, having a really good idea, knowing what to do.
Are you able to go and defend your Dirt Cup crown next week?
I'm not, unfortunately. I'm bummed out about that one. Dirt Cup's probably my favorite one of the years. So, bummed out about that, but it's all right. I'll give someone else a shot at it.
And he is racing the ARCA series at Mid-Ohio this weekend. That's why he's not racing a sprint car. But, yeah, you remember he won the Dirt Cup last year.
Right.
Up at Skagit Speedway. Then, if you remember, just a few days after that, he shows up at Lake Ozark Speedway, doesn't even post a qualifying lap, and he passes, 4 cars in one lap and wins that race over at Lake Ozark Speedway. I can't remember the last time I saw a guy win a sprint car feature without even posting a qualifying lap, but he got that done that night. So that was right after Corey Day won the Dirt Cup. But now he's going to race on a road course at Mid-Ohio today in the ARCA series. So that's what he's doing this weekend.
Randy Orchid won the Northwest Focus Midget Series at Skagit Speedway the other night.
And Chad Kincaid won last night at Skagit Speedway in the midgets. Speaking of midgets, Cannon McIntosh wins the feature race at I-55 Speedway last night. We're just a couple of weeks away. You know, they moved the BC 39 from late September to early July at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and Cannon McIntosh won that race last year. This year, it's in the middle of the week, coming up heading into the 4th of July weekend. July 1st and 2nd will be when the BC 39 takes place at Indianapolis Motor Speedway Dirt Track. I think that's probably better that it's not in late September, moving it up to July. I think we'll see how that works out, but I think that's a better date for that event.
You think July's better than
I do.
September?
Yeah. Maybe Kyle Larson will show up for it. He's a defending winner, or not the defending winner, but he won the BC 39 in 2021. So who knows who else could show up? You know, Buddy Kofoid could show up. He's a former winner of the BC 39. So having it in the middle of the week like that, I think lends itself better to maybe some more drivers showing up to that event. More Sean Neistat, who is the voice of Huset's Speedway. We talked with him on our Monday Mostly Motorsports show. And here is part 2 of the interview with the Huset Speedway announcer, Sean Neistat.
You know, I was really rooting for Jack Dover to win that race the other night. Chase Randall picked up the win on the last lap. Talk about that a little bit.
Oh, and I think the moment in victory lane when Jack Dover said he could cry right now, I think that speaks volumes to what a 410 feature win means at Huset Speedway. It was such a heartbreak to hear that the car was starting to run low on fuel and was starting to sputter on him getting into the corners, and probably very likely cost him the victory. But Chase Randall was right there ready to pounce, and I thought there were a couple opportunities for Chase to maybe throw the slider before that, and he didn't. He held back, and he waited for the right moment on that white flag lap to throw that slide job, and it paid off for him. And it really made me think back to hearing Austin McCarl talk so many times about racing at Huset's and all the advice he's gotten from Terry, his father, with 102 victories here at Huset's, telling him about how you have to wait at Huset Speedway, wait for that right moment to throw the slide job, or you cut your own momentum and 2 or 3 guys can go by you just because you tried to go by one. And I really thought Chase Randall showed a lot of poise in throwing that slide job right after going past the white flag, and it paid off for him. But that was a true heartbreak for Jack Dover. And if you don't know Jack, he's one of the great guys of the sport. He almost always has a smile on his face, and so personable and so great with the fans. And to see him get out of that car and be so dejected, it kind of tugged on the heartstrings a little bit. And but the good news was it was great to hear Jack say that he feels like they've hit on a few things with the setup with that car, and they're starting to show more speed. And hopefully that pays off with a good showing here during the High Bank Nationals week. And and maybe they can get the Estenson Racing team into victory lane here at Huset's yet this year.
Yeah, we've known Jack a long time. He's spending more time as a crew chief than he is driving the race car. He don't really drive as much as he used to anymore, does he?
Well, he's had some time off. He really focused last year on being a crew chief, and he and Tim have kind of flipped roles this season. So Jack's back to being a full-time driver for Estenson Racing, and Tim's learning more of the hands-on part of being a crew chief. And so I think in the long run, it's going to pay dividends for both of them, giving Tim a little more experience on the setup. And after working on these race cars, think about how much better the vocabulary gets when you're trying to talk with your crew chief when you've been in that role of crew chief. And I think in the long run, what they're doing is really going to pay off in that long game. Time will tell, but boy, Dover had a lot of speed here Sunday, and so I think they're starting to hit some strides. And when the day comes, when Tim gets back behind the wheel of the car, Tim Estenson we're talking about, I think it's going to, Jack's success will end up being Tim's success down the road.
It's been a while. What have it been, 4 or 5 years since he'd won a race?
Yeah, what did we say last Sunday night? It was 2022, 2021.
I think you said 21, I believe.
He's got the one 410 win and a few 360 wins in one night in an IMCA sprint car, and so that would have been a big one. I mean, anybody getting a win here at Huset's right now with the level of competition we have at the weekly shows, anybody going to victory lane, it's a big one. But for a team like that, for a driver like that it's been a while. And, the vast majority of Jack's career was 360s. That's kind of what a lot of people remember him as, is winning so many 360 shows across this part of the country. So anytime he gets a chance to go to a 410 victory lane, I think it validates him as the level of driver that those of us who know him, we know he is a top level driver. And if he can get another 410 win, it'll just continue to validate that for him.
They cut it close on the fuel, I guess. They had more yellow flags than they expected, apparently.
Yeah, and that really surprised me.
Yeah.
I didn't think we had that much for stoppages in that feature. So either the car was consuming more than they anticipated, or something there where the calculation may have been off a little bit, or they cut it a little bit short, thinking it would go quick. The track was a bit heavier than it has been all year, so maybe that played into it after a couple of rain showers throughout the day. So there are so many variables in sprint car racing that it's so easy to forget about all of those things. When you sit down to watch a race and you're thinking, okay, this is badass people getting into badass machines and wheeling them around a racetrack, and then you really zoom in on it, and there's so many variables talking about the weather and the heaviness of the racetrack and all those different things that go into all the different factors of his setup. It's really a macho, brutal kind of sport from the distance, and then when you zoom in, it actually gets kind of scientific, and I think that's kind of a really interesting view of our sport, and sometimes I have to remind myself of that we're talking about ounces, and we're talking about airflow, and we're talking about all these little scientific things that go into this sport, and it's just another reason to love sprint car racing.
We were talking to Buddy Kofoid just a little bit earlier, and the money in sprint car racing is at the max right now, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it great? As the people that know me know I'm a Huset Speedway homer through and through. Started going to races here when I was 2 years old, and been involved out here at the racetrack for a long time, and never, ever, ever did I think in my lifetime we would be racing for six figures, let alone $250,000, and that's just here on our local level. $5,000 to win weekly. I mean, that's absurd. I remember when the 410 class went from $2,000 to win weekly to $2,500, and that was a big deal out here. So the $5,000 to win weekly shows, the big money coming up here with the Outlaws. It's almost unimaginable. If you had a time machine and you could go back and tell somebody, in around the year 2000 that, here in 25 years or so, that this kind of money would be up on the line on the local level, people would call you a liar. But it's spectacular, and that's just on the local level, and then you expand that out to the national scene, and Then you look at the other big crown jewels with Knoxville and Eldora. I mean, it's a great time to be in sprint car racing.
Man, you've had the racetrack has been in excellent shape for your weekly shows up there. Last week, Chase Randall and Ryan Timms put on a hell of a show. A week ago, Randall coming up a little bit short of Timms, but you've had some great racing up there this year.
It has been great, and it really started early on in the season. I mean, that first night, it slips my mind now, but Caleb Johnson wasn't even in the redraw, so he was outside the top 8, and suddenly here he comes, and he gets that victory and rattles off 3 in a row, and then Ryan Timms comes in, and he bangs out 2 wins in a row, and every feature event has been a really good one, and as far as my memory serves right now, we haven't had a front row winner yet this year in the 410 sprints at Huset's. And I thought last night that was going to change with Dover starting outside the front row. And then, here comes Chase Randall with that last lap slide job for the victory. And so as far as if memory is serving me right now, we haven't had a front row winner yet. And boy, that'll be exciting if that continues to hold true through the rest of this week, and even if not, then through the rest of our weekly shows.
Despite the draw that you had before, where they pull the cards off the table and so forth, that doesn't seem to matter right now, does it?
No, it really doesn't. And a lot of the drivers will always say the big thing is just to get into that redraw and let the chips fall where they may. But, Caleb Johnson come from outside of one of those redraw spots for that first victory. So I think it just means you got to be set up, you got to be ready to go. And then with the level of competition here, whether it's this week during High Bank Nationals or even the weekly shows, the level of competition is so good. And I think we kind of are starting to see that there's so much talent throughout the field, and we've got these deep B features. When the leaders get to lap traffic, there's no slouches out there in the field. So when the leaders are working traffic, those cars are fast. And, if the chips would fall correctly for those guys, they would be up there hunting the wins. And so I think that all plays into it. It's the depth of the field and the depth of the talent, and then you shake it up with that redraw a little bit, and it's all working out so far this season for some really, really dynamic racing.
Caleb Johnson is a driver on the rise. I saw him at Knoxville the other night, and he's run so well up at Houston Speedway. Just kind of talk about his growth. He's really come on strong here the last couple of years, hasn't he?
He really has, and if you've watched the trajectory of his career, it's really a great story. Micro sprints, and then got into the IMCA Race Saver sprints in the area. It showed success in that, and I remember one of the first nights he had run a 410, if not the first night after running some 360 shows, was a World of Outlaws show here at Huset's, and I think we interviewed him that night, and to paraphrase what he said, he had no expectations of running well with the Outlaws. He had no expectations at that point of running well in a 410 sprint car, and pretty much relegated at the start of the night that he was going to get his backside kicked, is what he said with some different words. And now you look at it, and he's a contender. He's showing a lot of great speed at Knoxville. He's been very fast here at Huset's. Podium again on Sunday. And so he's done a couple things this season. One, he's proven that his championship last year was certainly not a fluke. He is one of the fast cars here at Houston Speedway, and I think that's one of the reasons why getting a win here was so important to him. But the other thing that he's done is he's showing now he's a contender, and it's paying dividends, teaming up with Dennis Gainey and Team DGRD, and stepped away from his job that allowed him to do a lot of racing, but he had to step away from his job to do even more racing, and that's what he's doing this summer. He's a full-time sprint car driver, and so far it's paid off with the victories here at Huset's and some good showings at Knoxville and other tracks around the region. So like you said, his stock is on the rise, and we'll see how it plays out for him here during High Bank Nationals week. If he has a good showing, I think that stock rises even higher.
Sean Niestedt, the great voice of Houston Speedway, man, he and Johnny Gibson are doing a great job working together up there this week. This guy is a great announcer. So we appreciate him.
He's
spending
one of the
time with us.
best.
I think so. Yeah, he's good. Hey, we need to make a call out to Hunter Schoenberg, who came in with a 7th place finish on Thursday night with the Huset's Hustle. That is, I think, the best finish that Hunter's had, and he's another World of Outlaw regular going for Rookie of the Year honors. Got Clinton Boyles is, working with him again on that Vermeer number 55 car, but great finish for Hunter Schoenberg. 100% they call him. 7th place finish. Pretty awesome against that field of race car drivers up there. We'll see how he does tonight.
Who's your picks for your NASCAR this week? I'm going to go ahead and give you mine real quick. That way you guys can start thinking. I'll put these odds up on the screen there. They're up there for you, Scott, up on the board.
So who do you think? Did anybody pick against Shane Van Gisbergen last? Did we make picks last week?
We didn't make picks last week.
This guy won by 16 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, he just totally dominated that Mexico City event.
Yeah, that wasn't much of a race for him. My pick this week would be William Byron and Denny Hamlin. They're in the top. All of them are in the top 5 in DraftKings odds. There's the odds there on the screen for you.
Well, those two guys won the last 2 races there, right?
Absolutely.
Chase Elliott won there in 2022.
So Denny Hamlin's your race odds favorite.
Wouldn't that be something? He misses last week at Mexico City.
Well, yeah,
he wins the week before at Michigan. Wouldn't that be something that Denny Hamlin wins at Michigan, doesn't even go to Mexico City because of the birth of his new child, and then
wins at Pocono.
Returns back to the Cup Series and goes to Pocono and wins. I guess that could happen, couldn't it?
Yep, he's your favorite. Larson's your second favorite, and William Byron, Blaney, and Christopher Bell round out your top 5 as your favorites. So who you got, Scott?
You know me, I'm always a Christopher Bell person.
Christopher Bell. How about a backup?
He's about due for a win, isn't he?
Yep.
Chase Elliott.
See, Bell was up at Houston the other night,
sure was.
racing in the 69 car, the Kreitz car. What do you think about that?
Hey, Kirk.
He didn't finish near as well as Kyle did, though, did he?
No.
He made the A main, though.
Who's your pick,
Which
Kirk
Rico
Elliott?
can't.
Who you gonna pick?
I'm going to go with. I'm going to go out on the limb and say Chase Elliott breaks his long drought and wins a race.
All right.
Chase Elliott.
And how about your backup in case Elliott gets lost early? Who'll be your backup winner?
I'm going to have to go with Hamlin.
Denny Hamlin. Yeah. That's a pretty good pick.
Hey,
right.
Kirk, who do you think's going to win up at Huset's?
Well, it'd be hard to go against Buddy, wouldn't it? But I'm going to say somebody different is going to win tonight. Somebody that we haven't talked about.
I'm hoping for Garrett Williamson.
That'd be huge, wouldn't it?
It would be.
How big would that be?
That would be big.
I'm going to say Sheldon Hodenshield wins at Huset's tonight.
What
How
about
that going out on?
What about Bill Baylog?
He could do it, sure.
Right.
I mean, the way he ran last night. He's had a second place finish on Thursday
He
night.
dominated
and a win
that race
last night. Why not Bill Baylog?
He dominated that race last night.
Yeah, I mean, he just. These picks, I just kind of go out on a limb, knowing I'll probably be wrong. That's why I'm going to Sheldon Hodenshield. It's too obvious to pick Bill Baylog and Buddy Kofoid. Those are obvious picks.
What about David Gravel?
Yeah, he won this race 2 years ago. He took advantage of when Buddy blew that engine 2 years ago and won up there. That would be huge because the owner of his car also owns the racetrack.
Right.
Todd Query. And that was a big deal when he made it happen 2 years ago.
Is Brad Sweet running too?
Yes, he is there.
That's going to be my pick. He had a bad run last. I think he'll
trying to regain the flag of the high limit. The high limit guys have not done as well as the World of Outlaw guys.
He ran 10th last night.
Yep. So I think my pick would be him or Sheldon Hodenshield. That would be that would probably be.
Harry, I'm going to go out on a limb right now. I talked about Rico, not he's the top qualifier, the 2 prelim nights and not make the A main. He did make the A main for the Houston's Hustle, started 16th and ended up 10th. What if Rico somehow comes back for not making the A main last night and just blows everybody away and gets a decent starting spot for the A main tonight and somehow finds his way up towards the front? Wouldn't that be? Nobody would expect that.
He ran 7th in the last chance qualifier last night.
Yeah, he's due.
You know, he had to start like 16th in
Right.
the B. How much of a chance you got starting 16th in the B main and getting qualified? You got to make the top 4 of the B to make the A. There was no chance that Rico was going to come from 16th starting spot to make the top 4.
All right.
He had no shot.
Track Talk has been brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We want to thank our guests, Buddy Kofoid and Sean Niestep, as well.
And we're not sure who we got on Monday.
Don't know.
But we'll probably try to get Chase Rodman on.
Yeah, we
to
haven't
give
had
us a
Chase on in a
preview
while,
of the big weekend at Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend. It's the Diamond Classic next weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll be all over that event, the high limit racing, and it depends on what happens tonight.
That's right. Who knows who wins? If Buddy wins again tonight, he'll be wanting to call us.
But again, we'll not
Right.
we're not doing a live stream
Yeah.
anymore at 12 noon, but we are doing the interviews. We're posting the podcast sometime on Monday, so
Yes,
watch
sir.
for that.
Make sure you subscribe, and that way you get a notification that the new podcast's up. Because if you subscribe, it'll send you a notification. So Monday will still be mostly motorsports, just like always. Just won't be live. It'll just be taped. So should be a good show. I've been looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going and jumping in the pool, guys. I'm going to go
Are you
swimming.
going to do that right away?
Well, I'm going to stop on the way home and pick up
Kirk.
a couple things, and I'm thinking about jumping in that pool today.
You got a pool?
Yeah, I got a pool. So, yeah, I might do the same thing.
Yep, it's one of those. It's a pool day today.
All
I'm
right.
telling you.
I will tend to probably stay in where it's cool.
Absolutely. Don't if you're out in it, drink the water, guys. Make sure you're drinking those waters out there, especially at the racetrack tonight. We know it's going to be hot out there. So
Yeah, once the sun goes down, I think it'll be bearable
yeah.
out there.
Well, like you said last night, it was 9 o'clock and it was still in the high 80s. Man, it's just we're here. It's summer now. I think what happened is we had a lot of weeks where it was
Today is the first day of
I
summer.
think yesterday or today.
You know, it's
yeah.
crazy. 4 or 5 months ago, we were complaining how
Well,
cold it
that's
was.
what I was saying. We've been
right.
We had a really good spring, this year where it really wasn't that warm all year, and man, it hit us in the face today. So be careful out there. Have fun. Tune in Monday, episode 365. I believe will be our episode 365, mostly motorsports.
And can't wait to see what happens tonight. Todd, thanks for all you do.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate everything that you do, Todd.
Thank you, Scott.
For Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.